Peace, love, knowledge, and freedom, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Just Seen motherfucking podcast. And today, as you've seen from the title, we're going to be talking about reading comprehension. And also, as you've seen from the title, we back with season 13, baby. Because you know the titles. Once you see the titles, how you see the motherfucking titles, nigga, you know we back. But nah. It's good to be back in this motherfucker. But we're back with season 13. And as I said from the title, we're going to be talking about reading comprehension and consciousness, right? This episode, how we're going forward from this point forward, I feel like this is like a turning point episode. And not just a turning point in like, you know, shit's gonna go a certain way or whatever, but I ain't gonna say turning point, it's more of a milestone episode. Like, I know my typical milestones are, you know, 100, 200, 300, 400, stuff like that. And we're approaching the 400th episode. So there's going to be another milestone episode. But this one is different because it's like what I'm going to talk about in this very first episode on the first season is going to be what allows the rest of the seasons to go the way they're going to go. You feel me? And I feel like I need to talk about reading comprehension because it's like from seasons 1 through 12, it was, you know, it was what it was. I ain't gonna say I dumbed down, but I fed it in a way that would allow people to digest it properly. You feel me? I'm not changing any of that now, but I'm just saying I've now realized that one, I reached a point where I can't cap it anymore. There's no way I can cap any of what I'm saying, and the information that I'm going to be given from here forward is going to be at higher levels of reading comprehension and consciousness, right? So it's like I'm gonna show what all of this shit is. Like, we have people, you know, high vibrations, and we want to be on good consciousness and shit. Like, if you can't read, you're not conscious as you think you are. And I don't just mean you don't read. Is it like, no, there's levels to reading and writing and literacy as a whole that motherfuckers have to truly capture and understand going forward. You know what I'm saying? And it's something that was really just, it's been coming to me like a motherfucker because it's like I keep seeing it on social media. Like, I be on threads and shit, and motherfuckers can't read, bro. And it's like we look at, and I think because of the semantics of the English language and what we saying, like, people don't have literacy. Like, we say people can't read or whatever, but it's deeper than that. People don't have literacy, and what that does is people don't realize how powerful literacy is and how consciousness and comprehension goes together and how reading and how literacy as a whole goes with all of that shit, right? So if a motherfucker can't read, they can't write, right? But beyond that, if they can't read, they can't hear. Well, they hear, but they can't listen. You feel what I'm saying? Because you have to have the wherewithal to be able to listen effectively and, you know, comprehend effectively. Niggas can't do that shit, bro. Niggas can't do that shit. And it's scary. It's really scary to know that if you're out here delivering a message and you're talking to 54% of the world, of the United States as a whole, for one, but 54% of the United States can't read above a 6th grade level, right? That's 50. Like, but then which is crazy because outside of that, it's the highest they go up is the 8th grade. And so it's like, why is that important? Because if the average person can't read above a 6th grade level, or they're stuck and stunted at reading at an 8th grade level, because most of the shit that they read on a regular basis is written there. Social media ain't even written there, because if you can't read it, you're not writing it at that level. So most of the conversation that we have is with illiterate motherfuckers, bro. Because motherfuckers can type and they can, you know, get autocorrect and shit. AI is intelligent, but still not human. And you can see the human in the situation. You know how illiterate motherfuckers are by how effective they're trying to use AI, and they suck at it. You feel what I'm saying? And it's going to come a time when you're going to have to be on point with that, and you're going to have to change all of that shit. And I know it's like, well, damn, all of this is going to tie into reading comprehension and shit, because there's levels and there's layers to everything that's been going on. You know, y'all are good. I think. We gonna find out, nigga. But y'all are good. If y'all been fucking with me for the last, 12 seasons and shit, y'all are exceptionally well, because what we're going for here, like I said, once I set the tone for what reading comprehension is, what consciousness is, what all of these different things and the semantics of how they interplay with each other, everything that I can talk about going forward will be, this is my disclaimer episode. I'm gonna say that this is gonna be a disclaimer episode. Not in the sense that I'm apologizing for none of the shit that I'm going to say or none of the shit that I have said, but I'm going to show you that the degrees of separation of why there is a fucking separation. And no matter what it is, I can break this shit down, and I'm going to break this shit down so well that it's going to explain why some people can see certain things and some people can't, why people fall into certain groups, why people don't, why people are elites, why people are impoverished, why people are this, that, and third. All of this comes down to reading and literacy and comprehension and shit. But before we dive heavy into that, be sure to follow me on Instagram at SeenTheGriot. Be sure to check out my website at IamJustSeen.com to get all things that are just seen. To all those who tip, donate, and sponsor to the podcast, you are greatly appreciated. To all those who would like to tip, donate, and sponsor to the podcast, you can do so by clicking the link in the description of the podcast. Not the episode, but the podcast itself. The vibes, Cash App, and PayPal are just fine. And I feel like I said something wrong, but anyway, that's the vibes on that. So that's that for this, and that's this for that. So we're gonna take a quick break, and when we come back, we're gonna dive into, what do I want to title this? Because I probably already said it. Reading. We're gonna dive into literacy, consciousness, and comprehension. And don't forget to visit IamJustSeen.com. There, you can get all things Just Seen. You want to add the So For Real series to your library? Visit IamJustSeen.com. You want to learn how to master the markets for serious trading and investing? Visit IamJustSeen.com. You want to get your hands on some exclusive merch like tees, hoodies, coffee mugs, hats, bags? Visit IamJustSeen.com. Are you thinking about transitioning into the plant-based lifestyle? Visit IamJustSeen.com. You ever want to just chat with Seen about anything from simple advice to mentorship? Visit IamJustSeen.com. Anything and everything that is me, you can find at IamJustSeen.com. So take a quick peek into my world to see why being just seen is nothing less but always more. Because you never really know what you need until you see it, and you will never see it unless you visit IamJustSeen.com. All right. Welcome back. Ow. And without further ado, we about to get into season 13. To infinity and beyond, my nigga. But nah, on some real shit, like, I'm going to start this off because I call this episode Literacy, Consciousness, and Comprehension, because the two things are one and the same, right? We look at, and this episode mainly came about because I'll never forget the conversation. I was telling somebody, if you don't understand physics, you won't understand metaphysics. And the person literally said, like, they was basically saying some shit about, oh, that's condescending or that's derogatory or whatever, because it's like, you can't assume that just because somebody doesn't know the semantics of this or whatever, that they, like, no, nigga, literally, it's tiers and levels to this shit. If you don't understand physics, you're not going to get metaphysics. So much so that when you try to understand metaphysics, it's going to be a deficit there. It's going to be a real deficit there, because what you're trying to do with the metaphysics side is view it from a perspective that you don't even understand on a basic level. And we see this happen time and time again. So the person was saying, well, I don't have to understand physics to understand the quantum mechanics. Like, nigga, yes, you do. Like, I don't get it. I see so many posts on social media where motherfuckers saying quantum physics justifies or, can define spirituality or whatever the case may be. And I'm like, but do you know what quantum physics is? Well, it's like spiritual. No. You have to understand basic physics to even be able to articulate quantum physics. You can't even tell me the vector details of a velocity, bro. And you want me to believe that you understand quantum mechanics and quantum physics? Because we are in a space that breaks the barriers for literacy. Because everybody can be exposed to the same thing at the same time. They think they have the same understanding of the same thing at the same time. You feel what I'm saying? This goes into the theme that I always talk about, the shit that I always put on the forefront. We have 4 phases of the mind: belief, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Literacy, comprehension, and consciousness are extensions of understanding. They are not even extensions, they are expressions of understanding. If you do not have understanding, even at a basic level, and we're going to go through the levels of what understanding is. If you do not have understanding of anything, you are not literate. You're not able to have the literacy necessary to understand the thing. So what is literacy, right? We get wrapped up in literacy is just reading. No. Literacy is the functional use of a language, right? We can limit it to, reading and, even some people add writing. But literacy is the functional use. I ain't even going to say functional because then we're going to get to the literacy as a whole is the capacity to use a language. Notice I said use. In order to use something, you have to understand the full mechanics of what it is. So we already going in that. Like they say, knowledge is power. Knowledge is not power. The application of knowledge is power. Therefore, literacy is the application of language. You have to learn how to apply language, the language that you speak. We know a lot of words, but we don't know our language. We know a lot of words. We can spot words. We can identify words, but we don't know our language. Hell, when we were in school learning it, it was called language arts. Language arts. And we didn't get the artistic side of it because in order to truly express an art, you have to master the science first. This is what I was talking about with the metaphysics and the physics and shit. Like, niggas, no, I don't need to understand physics to get metaphysics. Nigga, why do you think it's called metaphysics? What the fuck do you think meta does? What do you think meta means? It means above or beyond. Above physics or beyond physics. If you don't know physics, you're sub-physics. Like, you can't be on some metaphysical shit. Everybody wants to be on metaphysical shit because it ties into a mystical expression. There's nothing mystical about metaphysics. Metaphysics is physical reality manifested at a higher level. You feel what I'm saying? But people don't understand that because they don't understand the language that expresses metaphysics. So they don't come from the perspective of what metaphysics really is. Because like I said, I was telling one of my homies this shit. I was like, we fluently speak a language that we don't understand. And this is by design. Now, I don't want to get too much into a side of philosophy, but I'm going to get into it. Welcome back, baby. It's season 13, man. Let's have some fun in this motherfucker, yo. So, the reason why I subtitled this consciousness and comprehension, because the two things go hand in hand. If your comprehension sucks, so does your consciousness. If your consciousness sucks, so does your comprehension. We seen it all the time going back to the conscious community and shit like that. A lot of motherfuckers in the conscious community were illiterate as fuck. That was like the first time they picked up books in a long time, but they didn't even understand what they were reading. They were reading enough to be able to recite it and regurgitate it, but they didn't understand what they were talking about. You see this across the board. This is heavily in religions too. Like, even when we look at it from the religious perspective, a lot of people know their religious text solely because they think they're going to have some kind of audition when they get to heaven or whatever they think the afterlife is, where they're going to have to recite the book. No, that's not what it is. You need to understand what this book is supposed to be. And I'm going to put a pin in the religion side because it's very important, but we'll get to that probably within the next 5 minutes. But I'm putting a small pin in that religion side because it's like, that's where the exception starts. You feel me? Religion is often the first text that we read. You feel me? It's the first text that we're actually given the words from as people, because indoctrination starts as a baby. You feel what I'm saying? You're giving your religion first. You're giving your religion before you're giving anything else. You feel me? It's quoted over you and spoken over you. Motherfuckers don't realize what they're doing, but it's a bunch of illiterate motherfuckers that don't really understand this. And when I say illiterate, I do truly mean illiterate. I don't care if you have I don't care if you have your high school diploma, your bachelor's degree, your master's degree, your PhD. You are not literate enough to understand religion. Because religion sits at a level that religion is literally written above the level of all of those. And I'm going to break down piece by piece how I know this. But we're going to go through. Just let the episode flow, baby. So imagine you're getting this information, right? And I'm starting with religion because it's the highest thing. All religions. Well, we only really fuck with Abrahamic religions as a whole. But religion as an institution it's structured to be what is considered exoteric, right? All religions are written at a certain reading level. And where we get fucked up is that people think because I can identify and spot words that I am literate. So it's like the semantics of English. You tell a motherfucker, yeah, you can read. But are you literate? Are you able to apply your language? Because now when we go biblical shit, it says there's power, life, and death in the tongue. The tongue, because this is where I'm going to show you a level of literacy. When they say there's power, life, and death in the tongue, the average person sees that as what I say has power to it. Your words don't have any form of power if you don't understand the language these words come from. You don't understand why these words are these words in this language. So it's not enough just to read. You have to have vocabulary. You have to have etymology. Well, vocabulary, definition, and you have to understand the etymologies of words, origins. You feel me? Roots, syntax, grammar. You motherfuckers, and I'm only saying you if it's you, you motherfuckers don't know the difference between there, and there. And you expect me to believe that you thoroughly understand a religious text. Excuse me. I'm doing a dramatic pause with that because I like to be dramatic sometimes and shit. Especially if you're new here, welcome. But you don't know the difference between there, and there. And you expect me to believe that you understand something that is written with the words doth and dost and thou and shit that... We're going to put a pin in that because we're coming back to it. But this is how indoctrination works. And so when we consider religion, right, and how it's given to people, you're given the idea of religion before you ever get to read the book. The religion is already in you before you read the book. So there's already a preconceived notion. So there's a cap on what you're going to express. I have an episode on lexicons. I'm going to bring a little bit of that back here, but you can go check it out. It's literally on lexicons. Lexicons are, when they say think outside the box, lexicons are the boxes that we have to think outside of. You can't think outside of anything you don't have the vocabulary or the language to think outside about. Again, another dramatic pause. In order to think, you have to have the words to think beyond where the lexicon is. So the lexicon is it's like the words of it. The lexicon is the collection of words that you have in your mind. The words, the ideas, the thoughts, anything that you can formulate, the language, the words in which you're able to express that is your lexicon. If you don't have the words for anything outside of your lexicon, you feel what I'm saying? You won't be able to identify the shit. You'll miss it. It'll completely be, you have to think within your box. Which means that you have to think within your ability to comprehend, to apply the language, which means you can only think to your capacity that you can read. Now, because people think because I can sound out the word and I can pronounce it, that I can read. No, you can't. Because if you're reading these words and yes, you pronounce them, but you don't even know what they mean. You don't know what their origins are. You don't know none of that shit. When you read this word, it creates a blockage in the sentence that you're reading. When people are reading and let's say you read a 7-word sentence and 3 of those words you didn't know the definition of. You pronounced them, you said them correctly, but you didn't know what they meant. That means only 4 words out of that 7-word sentence were you able to, so you only understood 50% of that sentence. Yeah, you articulated and you said the actual words, but you didn't know what they meant. So therefore, if you don't know what all of the words in a sentence mean, you don't know what the sentence means. It's not hard. Now, when we add this same thing, let's say now it extends from a sentence to a paragraph and the same percentage sits. You only know 50% of this paragraph. This is a whole message within this paragraph, and you only understand 50% of it. This paragraph turns into a page into a chapter into a book. You still only understand 50% of the information in this motherfucker. You only understood half the book. You read all of those books. You read the entire book from front to back. Let's say I had 100 pages. 100 pages, you only understood 50 pages of that shit. You only understood 50 pages of that shit. What does that say? There's blockages in the information that you present. No, not present. There's blockages in the information that you consume. Now, I use this metaphor often. Not to be petty, but the motherfucker fit. Like, people who can read and say, oh, I can read, but they don't have the actual comprehension to understand what they're reading. They're equivalent to people who's like, yo, my child knows the ABCs. And you be like, all right, let me hear. And they sing the ABC song. That's the wildest shit ever. Like, for a motherfucker to say, my child knows the ABCs because they know they can sing the ABC song. I can read because I can pronounce the words. What? No. That's why we got to use the right word when we're saying reading. Are you literate? Are you literate? Because you can read and be illiterate like a motherfucker. You can see every single word in this motherfucker. Pronounce it. Even see how it's pronounced. But if you're not understanding what it means, none of the sentence makes sense to you. So if you don't know how to pronounce the word, chances are you don't know what the word means. If you don't know what the word means, you don't know how it is used in context within this sentence. So if you hear this sentence, you didn't see what was going on. And I said this because of threads. I fuck with threads. I always keep in mind before I respond. I always say this before I respond to anybody shit. This is on threads, Instagram. It don't matter. I always say the same shit. I say 54%. 54%. Before I comment, I tell myself 54%. Because I'm like, chances are, it's a 50-50 chance that you don't understand what the fuck I'm talking about. You didn't understand what I'm talking about. You had not even been exposed to what I'm talking about. You feel me? And I'm going to get to the consciousness and everything. Y'all know how I do. I got to set the scene. Case in point, I just had a recent situation. It wasn't recent. It was probably like a month ago, maybe 2 months ago. And I was speaking about how, why don't men have deep voices like they used to, or the men's voices aren't deep as they used to be. I forgot. It was just a couple episodes that I was just talking about this about. And the person responded saying, it was like, I know men who had deep voices. I said, I didn't say men don't have deep voices. I said they're not as deep as they used to be. But what you saying? Because I still know what all that don't matter because I'm still saying, what? No, I'm not saying that men don't have deep voices. I said our voices aren't as deep as they used to be. But I know men who have deep voices. Nigga, I know. Because I didn't say deep voices are gone. I said voices aren't as deep as they used to be. And the person, allegedly, you feel me? I'm not saying it to shit on this person, whatever, but the person says they're a writer. Now, like my gears started running because I'm like, I'm a writer too. How the fuck did you not? You feel me? What happened to where what I said was confusing to you as a writer to writer? How was what I said, it was confusing to you? How did you not get it? How did you take whatever you was going to take out of that? Because again, it comes to literacy. Like you could be a fluid ass writer. You can write a lot, but the limitations of your writing will be to your capacity of reading. That's why literacy is important. If the average adult can't read above a 6th grade level, they only write at a 6th grade level. You feel me? And here's why I'm saying that when it comes to writing, it's like people think, again, just how reading is because I can pronounce the words that I can read. Motherfuckers think writing is, I can spell the words. But do you know what they mean? I don't give a fuck how big of a word you wrote down and say, this word fits or whatever. I don't care about none of that shit. Did you use it in such a way that it showed? Because you can still use a big word like a 12-year-old. And I'm saying 12-year-old because the average adult doesn't read above a 6th grade level, and 6th graders are 12-year-olds. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like you can write a certain word, but did you write it like you were 12? And now when we get to the writing, Writing now comes into the communication side of it. Again, applying the language. You feel me? Reading is consuming the language. Writing is applying the language to be consumed. So it doesn't matter if you're a self-proclaimed writer, because I mean, you're a writer. If you think you're a writer, you're a writer. But everybody ain't writing on the same level. I know, because niggas don't write on the same levels as me. You feel what I'm saying? I know niggas don't write at the same levels as me because they don't read at the same levels as me. You feel what I'm saying? And I can tell because it's like when we have those, like what books, like they ask me what books I'm reading, I tell them and shit. And they like, that's too deep for me. Then that means you don't write like me. You can't, because these are books that I read on a regular basis. Like, this is my breakfast, bro. Like the shit that I read that's my breakfast, bro. I'm not reading fiction. I'm reading deep philosophical, like historical, like I'm studying. I study. Like that's my reading is to study. It's to not do anything else. It's not to be entertained. It's to study. And I go so deep into shit. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like, you can be a writer, but are we writing from the same levels? I know we not. But now your frustration won't let you see that it's degrees of separation. Spinning it all back to the very beginning, not of this episode, but of this situation that we're in right now. Why did they not want us to read and write as black people here in America? In addition, now I'm the reason why I'm saying here in America, because nigga, again, reading comprehension, the comprehension of consciousness is fucking dead. Niggas is like, yo, don't disband Africa. No, nigga. I'm so far beyond where you niggas is conversing about. I'm not even talking about land masses anymore. I've never talked about land masses. Again, these are going to be episodes that are going to pop up. I've done episodes, where I've hinted at, yo, we're Africoid genetics, nigga. Fuck the land mass. It's about the DNA. Like, when I say I'm not African, it's not because I don't share the roots of the bloodline and come from all of that shit. I say it's because, nigga, we're not land masses, my nigga. We're genetics. While they got you divided thinking about the land mass, they don't give a fuck about you complaining about the land mass. But it's when you start complaining, when you start worrying about the genetics. It doesn't matter if your Africoid genetics came from Nigeria or your Africoid genetics came from America, the Caribbean islands. You have Africoid genetics. There's only 3 types of genetics, my nigga. 3 races of people. Now, niggas be thinking when I say shit like that, because again, this goes into lexicons now. When I say shit like that, they're like, oh, this nigga, no, nigga, you didn't read what I read. You don't read what I read. You didn't read what I read, and you can't comprehend what I comprehend. All you have to do is understand anthropology. Anthropology lists it right there in the fucking books. But now when I go back, they say, you don't want you to read and write. I don't want to get too wild because y'all know how happy I can get and I get excited when I'm flowing. They didn't want us to read and write, but the only book that they gave us was the Bible and the Quran. And they're like, well, in America, nigga, it was just Christian. I know. And the sub-Saharan trade in Africa, nigga, was Islam. We couldn't read anything else. We could not read anything else. Like when we talk about the transatlantic slave trade, right? When we talk about the transatlantic slave trade, we never talk about the sub-Saharan slave trade. You feel me? So it's like when they like, yo, we got sold off in Africa, whatever. Like this transatlantic slave trade started in, I'm gonna say 1492, because that's when the recon happened with Christopher Columbus. They came over here, blah blah blah, and all that shit. But if we're gonna run it from 1619, started at 1619. The Islam, the Muslims, the Islamic people, and the sub-Saharan slave trade were for 1,200 years prior to that. It lasted 1,200 years prior to that. So who did the transatlantic slave trade people get their blueprint from? So now, both of these religions, both of these people said you can't read and study anything else so much. We're going to burn and destroy any literature that you have already created. And that which we can use to continue to structure ourselves within the world, we're going to keep in a place called the Vatican. I said that too loud. My bad. I was supposed to be thinking it. But we're going to keep all of the books and the literature, the real literature, in a place called the Vatican, right? And then we're going to act like we destroyed shit. And we're going to say we burned everything down in Alexandria. No, nigga, we got that shit on deck. Why the fuck would we burn the books? Because the pen is mightier than the sword. If the pen is mightier than the sword, why is that? A lot of people think it's the sign signatures and decrees and shit. It's not just about writing history. It's about comprehension. It's about literature. It's about when you meet somebody with a pen who's a writer, who can write at all levels of comprehension and make anybody understand anything that's being said, you have a problem on your hands. So we're going to make sure people can't read. We're going to make sure that people can't read because that's how you communicate. But then you don't realize, because your ignorance and your inability to comprehend and be conscious enough of what the people really are means that, okay, we burned their books. We didn't burn their ability to write. And we didn't destroy their ability to write, which means we didn't destroy their ability to communicate. You feel what I'm saying? So when we was enslaved here in America, I did the tangent with that because Muslims, niggas, nigga, fuck all of them. Fuck Abraham, nigga, straight like that. But you have to be well learned and you have to be well read to be able to say fuck Abraham without feeling that little thing in your chest that you feel when your lexicon starts kicking in. I'm back, nigga. So when we're in the space where they're teaching us, you can't read and write, but the only book that they give us is a religious text. You feel what I'm saying? So now a lot of us, because we don't read and we couldn't read and we forgot how to read correctly, we don't even look at Negro spirituals the way they are. So when people say, like, when they're telling the stories, yeah, Harriet Tubman got the revelation from God that this is what she was supposed to do. Did she really get a revelation from God? Well, that's what she said. Sometimes you have to communicate your message the way niggas can comprehend it to get niggas to listen. The way you need to communicate your message has to be catered to the ability of motherfuckers' comprehension and consciousness. If I know that these niggas only gonna fuck with this religion, I have to use it. When I talk about Nat Turner, when niggas was like, well, Nat Turner, he used the religion. He seen that this shit was bullshit, but he said, oh, we stuck. I can't just tell y'all niggas to put it down and rebel. I have to find a way to use the motherfucker to make y'all work with me. You feel what I'm saying? That nigga put Christianity down. The moment he actually caught wind to it, he said, oh, I don't fuck with this no more. But I gotta fuck with this for now to get motherfuckers to use it. If we gonna be free. Because I'm understanding the comprehension. But see, what they never factored in. See, we have a divine connection through our pineal gland. See, this is what they think about source. Like, you have some kind of divine revelation, because that's, again, when you talk about Harriet Tubman, when you talk about Nat Turner, when you talk about those people that suddenly got this divine revelation from God, how they get it? How they get it? Oh, well, God came and talked to him. How? Tell me how. You can only tell me from the capacity of what your lexicon allows you to say. So you can only speak the way in which you understand within the Bible's context of what God can speak to people. Your pineal gland is your seat to the soul. That is your direct means of communication to source. Source doesn't speak words. It speaks images. So you don't get the words. You get the image and you create the words that are now supposed to be said. So now I have to have to say it a certain way in order to get motherfuckers to listen. You feel what I'm saying? Everybody doesn't have that capacity. Why? Because everybody doesn't have that comprehension. The conscious community, everybody was telling people, give the white man back his God. Give the white man back his religion. You are free, blah, 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 blah. Okay, cool. Can you communicate the religion? Do you comprehend it? No, just don't read it no more. This is why motherfuckers don't like me. I ain't gonna say they don't like me. Let me not even put that into the motherfucking universe. But this is why religious people have difficulty with me. And I say that because it's like, I understand the religion. I didn't just read the book. I have a high level of comprehension. Case in point, I'm gonna put this in perspective and then I'm gonna get to the ultimate theme of what all of this is about. When I was in the 3rd grade, I mentioned this story before, but I'm gonna mention it now because it fits the comprehension. When I was in the 3rd grade, when they tested me, I was reading at a college level, right? But it wasn't that I was reading at a college level. I couldn't be tested. They had to stop testing me and they left it at a college level because I understood, like, no, nigga, I can keep going. It's like, this is just information. If you leave me alone enough and I can process it, they're like, how do you know these words? How don't you? Like, it just came to me. But I have a divine connection. My connection portal was already open. I'm going to tell you how, and I'm going to tell you why. I want to say it was the 300th episode when I talk about when I got hit by a car when I was 17 months old. I went to the other side and I came back. And luckily I was able to go to the other side before indoctrination. So what I saw is not, it's not what everybody try to say it is. But you feel me? That's why they give you the lexicon. Because now what you see, you can only define it within the parameters of what you see. Of what words you're able to articulate. So when kids are frustrated, when children are frustrated when they're learning how to talk, because what they see in their mind has to be reduced to a few words. Let's begin there. Children, before they actually learn to talk, their only forms of communication are laughter and crying. Literally. You know when they're upset, you know when they need to be changed, you know when they need to be fed based off how they cry. You know when they're amused, you know when they're entertained, all that based off how they laugh. When the actual words start coming, that's when but we don't teach our kids to have impressive vocabularies. They repeat the words that we say because we start to formulate the lexicon based off of the words we say to them every day. You feel what I'm saying? This is why it's very, very important not to use baby talk with babies. Because they're not fucking babies. You feel me? But they teach you to use baby talk with motherfucking babies so you can start putting that lexicon on them. So they can't communicate with you. You feel what I'm saying? So many people, their communication is trash because they never learned how to expand it. So they'll say, and what it gets it even worse is like people will learn synonyms instead of real definitions and etymology of words. So they'll use the wrong word. And they'll be like, well, same difference. Not the same difference. Not the same thing. Well, if you don't know the definition of a word, they'll tell you to use a word that's similar to it. Nigga, if you don't even know what this word means, how you going to use something similar? And if you're going to use something similar because you don't know what this word means, that means you just might as well find out what this word means. You're going to have to know what this word means anyway to use something similar. But people regurgitate what they hear in the context of what they feel off what they hear. Nothing is based off what they know. So your lexicon is built off of an entire feeling of compliance. No and yes. Permission versus ability. Your ability is gone. And it's all permission based. You feel what I'm saying? So when somebody's trying to articulate themselves and they only have a lexicon that keeps them within a certain border, they don't have the words to actually articulate the messages that they see. How are they going to see it? I was speaking to somebody about dreams and they were like, how are you so good at interpreting dreams? I don't interpret dreams. I have a vivid imagination to where my dreams are understood, but I have an impressive vocabulary and understanding of this English language that I can articulate my dreams. I know which words to associate with which images. You feel what I'm saying? But now when you got to get a message and shit, people be like, yo, when source got to give you a message, but your entire capacity is all religious based, how you think you gonna get that message? You be thinking you got a message from God. No, nigga, this is the only way your goofy ass was gonna get the message because this is all that you consume. This is all your lexicon holds. So I have to fit the message within the paradigm of this and hope your goofy ass can figure it out. And I'm using goofy dramatically, but it is what it is. That's what happens. And so a lot of people be thinking, yo, source, God was talking to me. No, you sent the image. You were given images based off the only images you have. And your images come from your words. I was talking to somebody with this about prayer. I was like, prayer is not what you think it is. It ain't just begging and asking God to help you. No, prayer is a powerful thing when you know how to use it. Because prayer is about speaking the words to create the images in your head. And now you're attaching feelings to those images that are in your head. And that's what source connects with. If you pray for better days, if you pray to get out of a situation, but in the situation that you're praying for, your mind is literally thinking about the negative parts of the situation that you're in, and that's what you're feeling. Why do you think you stay in it? Why do you think you stay in it? Because source doesn't give a fuck what you speak about the most. It's what you think. It's what you can envision in your mind. And what you can tie the feelings to. Women say all the time, I want a man who's a good man who's this, that, and the third, but it's fuck boys. You know how much energy you put into a fuckboy, and you could think about the man that is a fuckboy in your head and why you keep running into fuckboys? Because you don't put that same intention and energy to a man that's good. Like, niggas, I love bad bitches. I want bad bitches. You don't realize, why do you think music is the way music is? We getting somewhere, and I still haven't even broken down the consciousness part yet. Why do you think the music is what it is? Because music is the words that now taints your image. It creates the image because it's like, we want your lexicon. That's mind control. We want your lexicon. We create your lexicon based off the, like, people be like, yo, I listen to trap music on the way, and you don't think that that's affecting you? Well, I ain't selling drugs or whatever case may be, but you're not living, you can't elevate beyond the level of a drug dealing thinker. Like, musicians program your lexicons. Musicians, speakers, orators, all of that shit, professors, they create your lexicon. Look at the word profess. We call it college professors, that's like a teacher. No. Profess means to speak. It means to speak. So now the professor is giving you the words that they need you to have. So they formulate your lexicon about this particular class. You feel me? If your professor didn't say it, you don't think about it. You don't think anything outside of what your professor said. You feel what I'm saying? This is why niggas get mad at study guides. Oh, the test wasn't like the study guide. Well, you didn't even say that in class. Nigga, you have the book. Can you comprehend what you read, though? You didn't even crack the book open. You relied on everything they said. Everything they spoke to you. If you relied on everything they spoke to you, but you wouldn't comprehend it from the book, and everything they spoke came out of the book, how can you learn? You can't. You just have to trust that what you're being told is right. So that's where the compliance comes in. This has been shit that's been programming us for a long time. This is why niggas can't read above a 6th grade level, because that's 6th grade level at a 12-year-old is just enough to feel smart enough that you can follow instructions, but you're still dumb enough that you can't make any changes in this world. Within yourself, you can only comply. Only comply. That's scary. That's scary. And I said all of that with the reading at a college level and all that shit to say, so what is actual reading comprehension? We know, okay, it's literacy. So literacy is your ability to apply the language that you speak. It doesn't matter if it's Chinese, Japanese, Vietnamese, Korean. I don't know why I'm going down all Asian languages right now, but Spanish, French, Portuguese. It doesn't matter what language it is you speak. All languages have the same thing. Same idea. Literacy is your ability to apply that language, which means speak it, which means read it and write it, speak it and listen to it. Not talk it and hear it, speak it and listen to it. You know how you be in a conversation with niggas and shit, and you see this all the time with the podcast scape and shit, like Fat Joe good for it too. But you see it in the podcast scape. Like, niggas don't even finish their sentence before somebody else is already responding. How? Nigga, you don't have telepathy. What you heard was the moment a motherfucker stops hearing, that's when they stop talking. And all the words can still flow, but the moment a person stops hearing, they start talking. I'm going to say that one more time. When people start talking, like when people talk over you or whatever, it's because they stop hearing. They begin to start talking the moment they stop hearing. They stop hearing when they can't comprehend the words. They stop hearing when they don't comprehend the words. We're in a space where on social media, as a black man, if I start off any tweet, any thread, any post with black woman, they stop listening. Nothing else matters that I say. Nothing else will matter of what I just spoken or what I will speak. No matter whether it's good, bad, or ugly, they're already wired to stop listening at that. Lexicons, my nigga. Lexicons. When you're hearing the podcast space and these motherfuckers are having these conversations, the moment they get a word that they can't put an image to, now they're responding. When they're reading, the moment they get a word that they can't catch the image to, they're responding, which makes it a reaction because you didn't even finish the whole thought. It's like, that's not what the fuck I'm talking about. Nigga, what? They came at me heavy. I didn't care though, because I understand niggas can't read. I made a post where I said black women are not protected because black boys are not respected. We're in a space where black women keep saying where all the men at, whatever the case may be. If the black boy is not respected, he develops into a disrespectful black man. In that one sentence, you see how the depths of the layers in that one sentence that I'm about to break down how many layers I have in that one sentence to show my context as a writer and a reader and how literate I am within this language. When I said black women are not protected because black boys are not respected, everybody said, well, black men are this, like they came at black men. I said, black men are not introduced in this premise. They're not introduced in this conversation. We're not talking about black men directly right now. He said, but you talking about black women. No, I'm talking about black boys. Now, if we want to get grammatical with it, the subject is black boys. The direct object would be the women. Still, the subject supersedes the direct object if you understood grammar, if you understood the language of this shit. But you don't. It's cool. It's cool. Continue to talk shit. But you saying that y'all need to be more men and shit like this. I'm trying to tell you why we're not. Y'all don't want to listen because y'all will. The very shit that is happening is because we're not respecting our boys. Boys that are not respected grow up to be disrespectful men. That's it. There's the problem. There's the solution. That's how you fix it. Everybody come. Black men, y'all can't even protect yourselves and shit like this. I'm not talking about black men. I'm talking about the boys. The boys you keep bitching about. The boys you keep complaining about. The boys that you want to keep safe. We have to respect them. If we respect them, all this other shit stops. Like y'all are missing the whole point. Y'all are, and see, this is the problem. We overlook our children. We overlook our children. And it's another thing that I always say. Parenting does come with a manual. It's the child. But because you can't comprehend enough to be a parent, you can't comprehend enough to have the patience to understand a child, because a child can't communicate to you. A child can't communicate to you on your level, so you have to be at a higher level of comprehension to be able to understand a child. But we got 6th graders having babies. And I don't just mean 6th graders, nigga. I mean literally, not literally, literately 6th graders. Because niggas don't read beyond the 6th grade level. And 54% of these motherfuckers between 16 and 79 years old. You feel what I'm saying? And they having babies. So you motherfuckers got the mind of a 12-year-old having a kid. And you wonder why you ain't got no patience with the kid? You comprehend like a 12-year-old. 12-year-olds don't have the comprehension or the consciousness to raise a child, to even be able to listen to what a child is saying. Y'all don't think this shit is not designed? This is a system. Because they understand literacy. They understand literacy. No child left behind. That was a game plan, bro. That wasn't no accident. That was a play. Like niggas be looking at like we be looking at the system like it's failing, and we don't, because we don't comprehend the shit. We don't know that it's working effectively. And because you got the lexicon of telling you, you got the perception and the comprehension to tell you that, hey, this is just not working right. You think it's not working. No, this is working perfectly because this is how it's supposed to work. I just don't understand how it's supposed to work. So when you're telling me the statistics and all of the bad shit, I don't understand that statistics or the efficacy of a system. I'm just assuming that this is supposed to work this way. This is supposed to work this way because motherfuckers is illiterate. We know motherfuckers is illiterate because we're making motherfuckers illiterate. We're making motherfuckers illiterate. You feel me? So that's one of the reasons why I say when I get on threads, I always say 54% before I respond to anything. Because I'm 100% sure that you didn't understand it. You didn't understand what I wrote. Why? Because I know you don't have the literacy for what I wrote. And I'm not saying that to be funny. I'm not saying that to shit on people. I know. If we see, and this is the problem when it comes with the mind. You feel what I'm saying? This is what comes with the mind, because they try to quantify the mind with your grades and shit like that, and then the way in which you articulate and shit. Like, no. I can dumb shit down, and I can dumb shit down to the absolute dumbest level, and I have to. You feel what I'm saying? But because I dumb it down to the absolute level, they don't think I go up as high as I can. So they can't see the degrees of separation because I can come into your lexicon. You can't come into mine. You can't. So you have to dismiss my lexicon because, societal structures and shit, black man, all of this shit. Like, I don't play the victim with the shit, but I understand y'all niggas ain't there. I know y'all niggas ain't there. You can talk a good game, but I know where your limitation stops. I can tell by your comprehension. You feel what I'm saying? So when I'm in that space, sometimes I engage because it's like, all right, fuck it, let's go viral. Like, I'm gonna use this shit to put my products on the shit. Let's go viral, nigga. Fuck it. I know these niggas don't get it. I know niggas ain't gonna get it. And the reason why I know is because I understand the different levels. So now, when we talk about comprehension, right? That's why I mentioned comprehension and consciousness goes hand in hand. This ain't coincidence what I'm saying. This is what I'm about to say next is not gonna be coincidence. You'll see it. It's gonna make sense. Consciousness and comprehension is the same thing. They're just euphemisms for one another. When people are part of the conscious community or whatever the case may be, they also are supposed to be a part of comprehension. Niggas don't read. They just watch videos all day long. That's cool if that's what you do. I'm not knocking it because you got to get this information how you got to get this information. But when you can only hear the words, you can't spell them. You can't see them. You feel me? You don't study them. You just hear what another motherfucker said. You feel me? You don't study. You don't learn. So therefore, you can't verify and actually see it in your mind. You have to see what they tell you to see. You feel what I'm saying? It shows where your level of comprehension is. I'm going to break down the numbers, but this is why we get into that grand rising thing. It's like, the fuck are we using grand rising for? Now, check the comprehension on this shit, right? To the motherfuckers who laugh at people and insult people, say, oh, the old grand rising ass nigga, hotep ass nigga. This motherfucker has a lexicon that still extends beyond yours, even though you still stuck on good morning and grand rising isn't in your lexicon. Now, they were at least attempting to have a broader lexicon. So this is when I get to when people say, okay, we don't say morning, we say morning because when you're morning, you're not morning. Those are spelled two different ways, right? That's why spelling is a part of this language too. English is designed this way. That's the design of English. We're going to give you homophones or homonyms. They sound the same, but they're spelled totally different. And their spelling gives them a different definition, my nigga. There, and there. See, that's what I'm getting. Motherfuckers will say, don't say good morning, say that grand rising. But you're going to say there, and there at all times. They're the same phonetic. Different spelling. And by different spelling, different definition. So when I say good morning, I know to leave the you out. I'm not morning, nigga. It's the morning as it's connected to the sun. I'm not putting the you in that shit. I know that intentionally. But when you don't know that that's what's happening, you're stuck on the phonetics. That shows where your reading comprehension level is. But it shows where you're trying to take it by saying, let's change it to grand rising. But you're still not in it because you know why? Because you'll still say pray. You feel what I'm saying? You pray to God. I got a jam session. I ain't dropped it yet because I'm still working on the beat that I want to put it to. But I say they praying with the A, we praying with the E. No, we praying with the A, they're praying with the E. We wade in the water but won't play with the heat. And the reason why I said that is because it's like when people come to you and they say, I'm gonna pray for you. What kind of praying are you doing? You feel me? Because your praying for me could actually end up being praying against me. And you don't even know that you're praying against me because you think you're praying for me, but what you're praying to is not what I'm praying to. And we calling it the same thing. You know why? Because we don't comprehend what it really is. And why? Because they have it separated between consciousness and comprehension to not know what it is. So on one hand, we encourage reading comprehension, but on the other hand, we hate consciousness. Think about it. A motherfucker would say 33 degrees of consciousness is demonic. Right? Oh, because they're associated with masonry. They associate all kind of, that's some dark shit. But you want to have reading comprehension. Comprehension and consciousness is the same thing, and there's 33 levels of both. There's 33 levels of both. And it's codified, and they make sure they codify it in the education system. You're not supposed to go above 13. The 13th level of consciousness is where they want the average person. They were smart. 54% is an effective. If 54% of niggas is only at a 6th grade level, and they're comfortable with a motherfucker of at least having 13. 6 is good. The reason why I said 13 because I'm about to break down the numbers, but 54%, my nigga. Think about it. Every other person reads only at a 6th grade level. You ain't comprehending shit. You have no consciousness. You don't have consciousness enough to dictate what the fuck is going on in the world. To even make a necessary change to improve your circumstance and your situation in the world. That's crazy, nigga. When you really sit and think about it, that's crazy. But now, let's break it down. And now it's like niggas gonna be, yo, where did you get this information from? I read, bitch. But nah, I'm gonna break it down because I was exposed to the connection between consciousness and comprehension when I went to med school. That's when I realized the jig was up. I was like, oh, it's because niggas can't read. Niggas ain't supposed to read at these levels. Now, when you are able to read at these levels, if you think we're gonna still, we have to still structure it to make sure you read and you're only able to comprehend what we allow you to comprehend at these levels. So it's 33 degrees. Now, the first levels you have K through 12. That's 13. Kindergarten is a level. Kindergarten is a reading comprehension level. When do you start reading? They already start you off at a deficit. I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. They start you off at a deficit, right? And we're gonna get to the layers of all of this shit and how sick it really is. But they start you off at a deficit because when do you really start reading? When does reading, quote unquote, matter? It always matters. But when do you actually take it serious and go into your level? I gotta use me as an example because this is just what it was. And most of y'all that are listening to this episode and shit, I put money on it. Y'all was in this. I grew up, and when I went to school in California, I was in the GATE program. Gifted Aptitude Testing, something like that. But they was testing us for superpowers, super mental powers. Like, it was in that test where I learned, again, because when I was 17 months old and I got ran over by the car and I went to the other side, like, I stayed quiet about a lot of shit, but I just felt that everybody had what I had, what I came back with, let me say that. Everybody had it because I was so young and it was just there, and everybody made it seem like they had it too, and they didn't. Whatever. But I have clairvoyance. This, if you on my merch shit, if you went to my Polycafe clothing where I got that shirt that says clear all that shit, that's why I made that. That's just not a shirt to be like, I'm clairolfactant, right? That's when that's the sense of smell. What I'm about to say is physics and metaphysics, right? I'm going to give you the names of the 5 senses, but I'm also going to put the clear in front of it to let you know that it's meta. You feel me? This is why I be telling niggas, if you don't know metaphysics, if you don't know metaphysics, you're not going to get physics, right? So I'm clairolfactant. Like, I can smell when spirits are around. Like, I can smell it. Like, and I learned, I didn't know it because there were like, it just happened. Like, I'll be outside and I smell a specific scent. And I'm thinking, oh, that's just the trees and shit. Cause I smell it all the time. How about y'all niggas don't smell that shit? And it's like, smell what? It's just certain smells. I really tapped into it when I learned how to meditate. When I learned how to meditate and I realized every time I went to the spirit realm, I smelled a certain scent. I'm not going to tell you what scent I smell because I don't need y'all that deep into it. But I smell a certain scent. I'm like, okay, y'all here. Y'all are around. And like when I go certain places, I can smell them. You feel what I'm saying? I get this gift. I don't think she knows it. You know, my mama, she be like, I smell water. I ain't gonna tell you what you are. Because if I tell you, then you know what I'm saying? Because she's very heavily religious. My mom's clairolfactant. I don't know if she has any other ones, but I know for a fact that's when she clairolfactant. I'm clairolfactant, clairaudient. I can hear. Now, this is when I was getting into the GATE program. Like, they was giving us tests on, do you hear this? Like, turning the volume down real. They're like, how can you? You be like, yeah, beep. And it's like, how do you hear that? It's loud, nigga. The fuck is you talking about? Whenever me and my brother would ride, or whatever the case may be, he likes to bump music. And I don't turn, like, when I'm riding the music, bumping to me is 5%. Like, niggas be like, yo, why don't you listen to music loud? This is loud, nigga. I hear it. I hear it very well. You feel what I'm saying? I have clear audience. Clairvoyance is easy. Like clairvoyance is how well you see and shit. Like y'all know, y'all can hear from the podcast. You feel me? So clairolfactant, clairaudient, clairsentient. Well, I said clairaudient. What I say? Clairolfactant, clairaudient, clairvoyant, clairsentient. That's when you feel. Like, I think we all got that naturally. I think it's just something that's easy within us. Like I feel shit before it happens. Like I feel like if somebody's like walking towards me or some shit, walking up on me, I can feel them coming up or whatever. Like that's clairaudient. Like your arc field expands so much that you can feel shit come into it. That's clairaudient. But some people can feel from a further distance. My clairaudience though, it runs farther than that. Like I've had people, it was wild. They'll hit me up, I'm like, why do I feel you way down here? You tell me, nigga. Shit, the fuck, I don't know. You feel me? But it's like I can progress. I can pop out. Now, let's see. And that's so that's I'm gonna do the last one too, and then before I say this next point. And then lastly, I have clairgustance. Right? That's gustatory, that's your taste, right? When you have very sensitive taste buds. Like when I cook, I can't season with a lot of food. Like I can't season with a lot of food. And I mean, I can't season food with a lot of seasoning and shit. So because it's like, I can taste it. I can taste shit down to the, I know what's in shit. You feel me? There was a video where Rick Ross was talking about, there was like, Rick Ross, somebody burped. He said you eat pork. He said, nah, he said you eat Garcia sausage or some shit and named it. It was like, you know how fat of a motherfucker you gotta be? He's not fat. He's clairgustance. All you keep hearing is get into the markets. But do you trade or do you invest? Should you do stocks, forex, crypto, or NFTs? My personal answer is not a single one if you don't know how to read a chart. Without knowing how to read a chart, you end up giving all your money to those who do. Do you know what a candle is? Do you know the pocket of activity? Do you know the difference between market direction and market control? If you answer no at least once, you might want to learn how to read a chart first. Learning how to read a chart will let you know if you should trade or invest and if you should do stocks, forex, crypto, and or NFTs. It will also let you know if this is even for you or not. So visit IamJustSeen.com to learn how to read charts with my Mastering the Market course, ebooks, and webinars today. The world is changing. The question is, will you adapt with it? Like clairgustance and clairolfactant, because they kind of go hand in hand, because you can't taste without smelling and you can't smell without tasting. Like, you feel what I'm saying? They go hand in hand, because ultimately all of the senses, they all go to just touch anyway. You feel me? It's just the sense of touch. When something touches the nerves, that's what activates, but they just give them different differentiations of it, you know. But the fat nigga was fucking clairgustance. Like, I taste. Now I can taste what I'm smelling together. Like, nigga, that's Garcia sausage, nigga. That's clairolfactant. To be able to lock something in like that. So it's meta shit. You feel me? Some of the gifts that we have aren't necessarily like, now I just use those 5 senses because that's easiest to talk about. I got shit on the other side of that too that goes well beyond that. But motherfuckers know. You can tell. You feel me? You can tell. But when it comes to the senses and shit, that's what they were testing for in the GATE program. But they were testing to see what else you had. Because if you can tap into those and you can feel them and you can use them and you know how to strengthen them, we got to watch out for you. So what I was going to say with that is that this is one of the reasons why when I became an entrepreneur, when I started writing my books, when I started creating my courses and everything, this is why I started smoking. This is why I started smoking, because I had to sever the connection. Because if not, this is why my podcast is called the Just Seen Podcast. Like, I don't know if I've ever said this before. I'm pretty sure that I did. But it's not just seen because it's only me on this motherfucker. Yeah, that's one of the reasons, but it's layered entendre. Again, this is really going to go into the comprehension, all that shit. But it's just seen because it's only me. It's just seen because I'm literally, as I'm talking to you, I'm watching it. What I'm saying is literally coming down to me and I'm able to get it and give it to you, right? This has been like this all my life. Like when you see me unload posts on threads and, you know, Instagram and shit. And if you were following the old page, it's like, yo, where do you get these thoughts from? I tell you, I download them. I literally download them, but I can't download shit if I don't have the information. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like, where do you get these witty quips and shit, and how you get these deep thoughts that just are so simplistic? Because I have a high reading comprehension. It's high. When I say it's high, and I'm going to break down what level I have and as I continue breaking these down. But the reason why I'm using that is because when I'm able to unload so much content on social media and never run out, it's like, yo, how do you do it? You don't get burnt out? I don't, because this is source shit. Like, it's deeper than me. It's bigger than me. You feel me? But because I have the comprehension of so much shit and I can just go in and learn it, when the message comes through, it can come through however it needs to come through. Sometimes it can come through as a joke. Sometimes it can come through as something serious. It can come through however it needs to, because I realized what it was at such a young age. And I said, let me just accumulate information and just let it have its way. When it needs to give a message out, it's going to give a message out. There's people, some of y'all, because y'all have been following me for a long time, a lot of y'all, some of y'all have seen a post and be like, yo, just tag me next time. If your goofy ass was listening, I wouldn't have had this posted. Like, I can't do that, you know? This is hilarious when I say this. I can't do that shit where motherfuckers be like, what they say, I must have got cut off from the portal, bro. I can't say that part. When people say shit like, oh yeah, I completely got wiped off on that one. Anyway, they be like, motherfucker be like, yo, just tag me next time. Like, I can't, nigga. You don't listen. Like, oh, that's what it is. When motherfuckers say, damn, it went away just like that again. All right, I'm really not supposed to say that shit. Okay, my bad. Goddamn, my bad, nigga. Damn, I said my bad. Shit. All right. So it's like when people be like, yo, just tag me next time. It's like, hey, you got to listen. But it's like, because I have it, I'm a portal for it. I'm a conduit. Right? The powers that be know who's who and what's what. They have that. Like, there's a lot of us that are like this and shit. But some of us haven't developed enough of the insight and information to get whatever we get. So this goes back into what I was talking about when I was saying about the dreams and shit. Like, you interpreting your dreams. If you have a lexicon around your dreams, you're not going to get all of the dreams you're supposed to get, and you're not going to understand them. So when I get a dream or something like that, I know exactly what's happening, because I study and I learn so much that it's like, we can give you this dream in any medium we want. Now you can get specific with the dreams that you're getting, because it's like, you know so much that we can give you the full story correctly. Otherwise, we got to give it to you in spots and hope you understand it. You feel me? I remember before I actually started mastering and developing my gifts with this shit, I had a dream that it was scattered around. Like, when I say scattered around, in the dream, I got shot 22 times. Motherfucking Kobe Bryant was in there, and Kobe Bryant was in there. He was retiring. Motherfucking, I climbed up a mountain, and motherfucking, I climbed up a snowy mountain and shit, then called my mama. Motherfucking, my brother was in it. We was in a shootout, and motherfucking, that's how I ended up getting shot. But he didn't get shot, but he shot niggas and shit. And it's like, then my homie, two of my homies pulled up in the Honda Civic, and then we rode to the hospital, and it was all scattered. I was like, what the fuck? Like, how am I supposed to figure that shit out? But every piece of that, it's like, if you focus on each individual segment, you'll get the answer. You get the answer that you're supposed to get. But this is all the information we have to work with to send you the message, bro. This is what your imagination holds. This is your lexicon. If you're not going to get it, if you don't know what's in your mind, then this is what's in your mind to give it to you, right? But as I started expanding, I started learning more, started studying more, started growing, developing all of this shit and all of this, it's like, oh, now it's like, okay, I know exactly what you're saying. I don't even have to think about it. Like, as soon as the dream comes, I can wake up and say, okay, because it's like, I have so much here because my comprehension is that high. And my comprehension is that high because I understand what the levels of comprehension are. So like I was saying, I said all of that because I talked about the GATE program and it seems like I got off, but no, let's bring it back. The first levels, right? K through 12 are your first 13 degrees of consciousness. K through 12 are your first 13 degrees of consciousness, right? Kindergarten, first grade, second grade. Third grade is when they start testing to see if they're going to do what? Build prisons. If the average adult reads at a sixth grade level, that's 54%. And they're building prisons by third grade test scores. It shows that between the kindergarten, first grade, and second grade, they want your reading so fucked up that it's not pacing. It's not pacing for you to read beyond a sixth grade level. In kindergarten. Ooh, we're going to learn shapes. Okay. Ooh, we're going to like, motherfuckers be like, they hate math. I be like, why? And I've learned that a lot of people struggle with math simply because they struggle with reading. You can identify these words. You can read the words. You can pronounce the words. You're functionally literate enough to pronounce the words, but you hate math and science because you can't understand those words. I'm not shitting on you. I'm letting you know the system is designed for this. We want you to be literate enough to sound the words out. To sing the ABC song, just don't know the ABCs. Because if you know the ABCs, then you can move into other things. So people struggle with math and science, not because math and science are hard, it's because they can't read. That's it. They're not literate enough to read math and science. They can read Junie B. Jones. They can read fucking Amelia Bedelia. They can read Harry Potter. They can read the words. And they can capture glimpses out of the shit. I know this word. I don't know what this word means. Or whatever. Reading that's the gift and the curse of reading. With reading, you don't have to do anything with what you read, other than imagine. With math and science, you have to apply it. You have to know what these words mean in order to do math and science. Put a pin in math, because we're going to go higher as we go. So now, by fourth grade, niggas is already left behind. They're not paying attention. They class clowns. They whatever. They fucked up. So they want the average person, at maximum, to at least have a high school diploma. Because that guarantees you're functional enough to work a job with a high school diploma. You feel me? You're functional enough to work a fucking job. That means whatever you can read, whatever you can fill out an application, you can follow instructions. You feel what I'm saying? You can follow instructions. After 13, you have undergrad. Well, bachelor's degree. Or whatever. And I know it's like, well, what about the associate's degree, community college? Those first 2 years, they transfer to 4 years anyway, so it's the bachelor side. Just fuck with me for this. From 13, now you have, these are the next degrees. But it's why they stopped giving them degrees and numbers. So when a motherfucker hears, oh, I read at a 12th grade level, they stay reading at a 12th grade level. Most adults don't read. Most adults outside of the ones who don't. Okay, so when we look at the 54% who read at or below a 6th grade level, that means 46%. 46, my nigga. 46% is the rest. But the average of that 46% only reads at an 8th grade level. Still not even 12th grade. This is designed to get you at 12th grade, at least to be functional. You feel me? The average of those who go above the 6th grade level stop at 8th and 9th grade. And then 54% down is 6th grade and below. This is sad because motherfuckers is in college that ain't supposed to be in college. So when they say college isn't for everybody, no, college is only for people who can read. And college is for people who only for people who are literate, because now you have the 4 levels that you're in for undergrad are 14, 15, 16, and 17. Those are the degrees of consciousness that create college. Just the bachelor's degree, right? Then you have 3 more degrees in a master's. I know, I got my master's in 2 years. I know you got it in 2 years, but it's 3 degrees there. 3 degrees there. That's 18, 19, and 20. Okay. Then you have the PhD is another 3. Another 3 degrees of consciousness. Another 3 degrees of reading comprehension. So you have, okay, so bachelor's was 14 to 17, then 18, 19, 20 is master's, then 21, 22, and 23 is PhD. So now it's like, well, if it's 33 degrees, how do we close the gap? Med school and law school, the medical and the medicine and law are not necessarily levels and tiers like the other ones are, but they're comparable because they're all Latin based. You're no longer in English anymore. You're in Latin. And that Latin now goes into the next levels of the comprehension, next levels of the consciousness. So there's 4 levels for each of those, between those two, medical and law. It's 4 levels. If you can understand medicine, you can understand law. If you understand law, you can understand medicine. Why? Because the language is the same. They're coming from the same language. You feel me? So you have 24, 25, 26, and 27. Those are degrees. Those are the degrees for medicine and law. The degrees of comprehension, degrees of consciousness. The average police officer, if we're looking at the average adult American at 54%, cops don't read above a 6th grade level, and they're enforcing the law. Law is between the reading comprehension and the consciousness levels of 24, 25, 26, and 27. Niggas is at level 6. And they're enforcing the law. And you wonder why niggas act like they act? You wonder why they do what they do? Because they don't understand enough and they get frustrated. And they have the power to be frustrated. And they shoot and kill afterwards. It's the design to make it happen. So now it's like, well, nigga, what's higher than law and medicine? Because you only went up to 28. Or 27. Okay. Now you get into exoteric and esoteric. Exoteric is above law and medicine, but below esoteric. Esoteric is the highest. Exoteric is 3 degrees, 28, 29, and 30. Esoteric is 3 degrees, 31, 32, and 33. So what is exoteric? All Abrahamic religions, religion as a whole, is exoteric science. Any book, any doctrine written in regards to religion is written from an exoteric level of consciousness, reading comprehension. Doesn't matter how you choose to look at it. Now you understand why the words are one and the same. Exoteric science is comprehension levels 28, 29, and 30. You were given an exoteric science, an exoteric piece of literature before you even started kindergarten. And niggas is like, why can't they separate fantasy from reality? Your lexicon was already built. Your understanding of God, your understanding of Allah, your understanding of Krishna, Jesus, Buddha, Jehovah, Yeshua, whatever it is, because you were given that doctrine at such a young age, without understanding the level of comprehension it's supposed to be. Children are not supposed to be reading Bibles. Children are not supposed to be reading Qurans. Children are not supposed to be reading Paret M. Haru. Children are not supposed to be reading those unless they have a comprehension level that is between 28, 29, and 30. They have a conscious level of 28, 29, and 30. You were given it before you ever got the first level of consciousness. You were given it before you ever understood the first level of comprehension. Niggas knew the story of David and Goliath before they read Curious George, my nigga. So now when we look at adults that can't separate fantasy from reality, you wonder why? You wonder why? Because you were given a religion that was written above a level of comprehension that you couldn't even read at yet. And you're still reading there. So this creates a lexicon. So now when niggas can't think beyond their lexicon, it doesn't matter what information they have. In addition to not being able to think above the lexicon, what value do you hold of things in your lexicon? Now y'all see, for years, seasons, I've told you, the highest conceptualization of the mind is a deity. The highest conceptualization of the mind is a deity. Are you understanding why I say that now? Does it resonate? Does it make sense why I say that? Because deities only exist at exoteric level in the literature. If you don't have a Bible, you don't have God. If you don't have a Quran, you don't have Allah. If you don't have a Torah, you don't have Yeshua or Yahweh. Because these books are mythology, ritual, and allegory. That's how exoteric sciences are written. So I told you, you have 3 degrees of consciousness in them. Mythology, you have 28, 29, and 30. 28 is mythology. 29 is ritual. 30 is allegory that opens you up to esoteric to give you 31, 32, and 33. Levels of consciousness and or reading comprehension. So you have people that will argue a book they don't understand. And you know they don't understand it because you can hear how they read. You can hear how they speak. You can see how they write. You can observe how they listen. There's no way you can tell me that you understand an exoteric piece of literature when you struggled with Macbeth. You struggled with Beowulf. You struggled. Like, this was the moment they were trying to segue us in to see who was going to get it. They gave us these literature novels. They gave us the Greek epics. They gave us the Iliad. Niggas didn't get them. If you can't get those books, there's no way you're going to understand exoteric science. I love Romeo and Juliet, though. I love Romeo and Juliet, but you ain't understand none of the epics. You ain't like none of you really didn't like that shit. They gave it to you for a reason. If you can't understand this, because this is the shit that is written from a remedial level. And it's like, well, these were great books and shit. Yeah, they were. Like, literature-wise, from a writer's perspective, the characters and the meanings and the messages and all of the shit. From a writing's perspective, it was dope, but it was still a remedial writing. Think about that shit. That was literally 9 degrees of consciousness. That's why you learned it in the 9th grade. That's why you took and you read Romeo and Juliet in the 9th grade, because that is literally, you have to have 9 degrees of consciousness to get them. It was just a test. Just a test. That's why by 12th grade, you were reading Canterbury Tales. It's just a test to see, can you keep up? Do you like this? Nah, this is boring. I don't get it. This ain't exciting enough. All right, go back down to thinking like a 12-year-old because you don't get it. So again, if you're not able to get that, there's no way that you can tell me that you truly understand your book. This is from my own perspective and my experience and my thorough understanding. You feel me? Now, if you go to your hospital and you can't understand what your doctor is saying, when they tell you what your conditions are and your shit has to be quote unquote dumbed down, your shit shouldn't have to be dumbed down. Your doctor should be able to tell you exactly what it says. No, they have to translate it down to the mind of like you're a 6th grader in order to give you the information. And they're not even learning it at that level. If you can't understand the sicknesses that you're dealing with, if you can't even understand the overall diseases that you're dealing with, the depths of those, and you can't study them and understand them, because again, you have to read to understand science. You don't know what a eukaryote is. You don't know what a prokaryote is. Those are basic levels in biology, but that's advanced level to a nigga that ain't never gone to science. So you mean you really think you can understand a religion? You really think you've understood a religion since you was a kid? When it was forced upon you, when the people that gave it to you didn't want you to read anything. So much so that what you're given and what you've been reading is completely fucked up. Like, it blows my mind when people say, everything in the Bible is real. Everything in the Quran is real, but they don't know the esoteric side of it. Why is the Bible called the Holy Bible? Why is that the title of the book? Because it's holy. So what is blasphemy? Blasphemy is not to insult something holy. What does holy mean? Holy derives from Helios. Helios means the sun. So blasphemy is to not go against the sun. What does it mean to go against the sun? Put a pin in that. Use your comprehension, if you got it. The Quran. Why is it represented by the crescent moon? And the star and the crescent moon is the emblem of the Quran. You feel me? Why is one of these books are these Abrahamic religions, which derive from Ishmael and Isaac? One of them is about the sun, one of them is about the moon. Why? What metaphor are you trying to show us? Because it's exoteric. It's exoteric. It's exoteric. 28, 29, and 30 degrees of consciousness. 28, 29, and 30th level of reading. Now, going back to what I mentioned when I was in the 3rd grade. They had to stop testing me at a college level because I kept going. I've always read at an esoteric level. I've always written at an esoteric level too. Because I read at an esoteric level. So when it was time for me to study these shits and it was like, y'all don't see this? What fucked me up was I understood what I was reading. And the people, I'm like, y'all aren't getting it. And my anger came in because they couldn't get it. But then I started learning, you're not at that level. Whole time, my modesty, I had to put a cap on it and stop being so modest because there's nothing to be modest about. You feel what I'm saying? When I consider like a lot of the people that would, for example, I'm seeing on threads right now, motherfuckers talking about the story of Job and how Satan was so, I'm like, y'all know God did that. Like, this is how I know you're y'all clearly are not comprehending it. In the very book, the devil walks in, and that's what we can call him, the devil, Satan, Shaitan, whatever. He walks into heaven after being banned to earth. Nick, we just gonna let that rock? All right, I'll stick to this story. We're not gonna add any other details. We're not gonna comprehend any other pieces of the book. Job walks into heaven and God says, have you considered my servant Job? Devil's chilling. He about to go to the refrigerator and get him something to drink. God says, have you considered my servant Job? And basically said, I bet you can't make him curse me. He tells him, you can do whatever you want to him, just don't hurt him. You can do whatever you want to him, just don't kill him. And I bet you he won't curse me. You hear that part, comprehension completely goes out the window because that's what people remember the most. In Job 42 and 11, I want to say it is 42 and 11. The words that are written in the book says, after the Lord took everything from him. So we have to raise an issue. If on one point, everybody's saying that the devil is the one who did everything to Job. He took his kids, he took his wife, he took his land, he took everything. We say the devil did it. But the words in the book say the Lord took everything from him. Who is the devil and who is the Lord? It's literally giving you both. Now, the book never says that the devil never did anything to him. He just said, nigga, I bet you. He's like, all right, nigga, I take your bet. And God did everything to Job. Everything. That's why his friends were saying, curse this nigga, bro. Because he did it. And it says that he did it at the end in Job 42 and 11. But it's like, I remember the first time I showed that to somebody. And they were like, they never wanted to talk about the Bible again with me. I know. I get it. I understand it. This is just a book to me. These are just books to me. You feel what I'm saying? Like when people ask, well, why are we created in the image and likeness? Why does it say, let us create man in the image and likeness? For the same reason why in the Quran it says we molded man from the clay, because it's a duality of a pantheon of deities that come in. You're polytheistic whether you want to believe it or not. You're polytheistic whether you want to believe it or not. And now we go to the next level, because I know it's like, well, saying you did mention esoteric as the high. Yeah. Now, esoteric, which is levels 31, 32, and 33, the exoteric comprehension is supposed to get you to the esoteric. But instead, they take the exoteric, and make you stay down on a whole different level where you believe this shit is real. You can't even use it exoterically to get into that, to transition into the esoteric. So the esoteric science, astrology, numerology, human design, tarot, divination, magic, these are all esoteric. You have to have reading comprehension to be conscious enough to be esoteric. So you got to watch these niggas that's on social media trying to think, yeah, you can do this and you can do, like, no, you don't even read, you don't even understand the exoteric, and you came into the esoteric. No wonder you saw demons. No wonder shit fucked up in your life. No wonder you was astral projection and you was seeing dark forces and shit. Because your goofy ass wasn't even you wasn't able to comprehend what the fuck you was experiencing. You wasn't supposed to be here. You feel what I'm saying? So now you get the people who, again, because I actually understand information and I have a high comprehension with shit, when people bring something to me, I study it. So I would deal with women, like when I first got into astrology, I would, deal with women, because you were Aries, this, that, and the third. And it's like, all right, cool. Tell me where you learned this information. Well, they'll send me a link about, read this page. And it just says Aries and no. Tell me, I need to know about astrology. I need to understand it. You can't just give me some shit and say, you are Aries in your 12th house, so this is what it worked. No. Tell me what an Aries is. Then you realize when you get to that esoteric level, I ain't gonna shit on nobody because I fuck with a lot of people that are in the esoteric shit. I just know they're not on my level. But I'm gonna let you know, when they constantly tell you that your sign is what you are and not what you have, that's where the delineation is. I ain't gonna say the motherfucker don't understand on the esoteric level. But when they constantly saying it's because you are this sign or you are this because of this, like, it's not true. I know people that will say, they'll send me something about, a certain sign. They'll be like, yep, cause we just like this. No, you have that energy. You can choose to use it however the fuck you want to use it. Case in point, I use myself as an example because when I actually studied astrology, I don't just try to memorize it. I'm going to put this into a whole different perspective too when I say this. So going back to the esoteric, right? Because remember when I was talking about when you in school or whatever, blah, 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 and not being able, like, how do you comprehend one thing but not another, right? And they're the same thing. Metaphysics and physics, all right? Physics is a form of mathematics. You feel what I'm saying? So if you don't understand the mathematics of it, you won't understand the physics. So like when people talk about frequency, you'll get on my frequency. In physics, frequency is cycle per unit of time. It's measured in hertz. Metaphysics is the same shit. However, it's because it's meta, it has bigger cycles. So cycles of life is still frequency. It is still hertz. You feel what I'm saying? What you do on a daily basis, your patterns, your rhythm, that's your frequency. So when people be thinking frequency is like, yo, get as smart as me. No, you stupid motherfucker. Get into the same habit of the shit that I'm doing. Do you go to the gym every day? No. Get the fuck out my face. You don't even have the frequency for it. You see what I'm saying? Frequency is habit, discipline. You have to have comprehension to be able to understand this extra shit. So here's why I'm saying that. Because when I was studying astrology, right, I truly studied it, and I have a gift, but it's not necessarily a gift because I feel like everybody can do it. I got to stop saying that because sometimes it really is a gift and nobody can do it. Other people can't do it the way that I do it. But I have a gift to connect information of any kind. If the information can be connected, I will connect it. And this is why I study so much, because it goes into my dreams. It goes into, like, the more I know, the more shit connects. And it just so happens that the more shit connects, the more I know. And it's like, go figure. So I'm studying astrology because Shorty's telling me some shit. She's like, yeah, I want to see your natal chart. And this is about 2015, 16 and shit. Oh, what's your natal chart? I want to see this, that, and the third. I want to know about you, blah, blah, blah. Because you shut the fuck up. You feel me? But goddamn. So I'm studying it. And I was like, you know what? I need to know it for myself. I said, give me some kind of reference material so I can learn it and shit. So she's like, she sent me like what's called an ephemeride. And I said, no, where'd you learn it from? Like, I just get on YouTube or I'll Google this. You don't know this shit. You believe it. Okay, you're going to make this a belief system. This goes into mythology, ritual, and allegory, exoteric. If you can't get above the mythology, all you have to do is believe it. But now when you go into the esoteric, you have to understand it. You have to know what the fuck is going on. You feel what I'm saying? So I'm like, all right, fuck it. First I studied numerology because I wanted to see the numbers and shit. Oh, 1111, make a wish. Shut the fuck up. Like, goddamn. You get frustrated when you truly understand something. You know that people have made a belief system out of it. So I'm like studying numerology, studying astrology. So I'm studying astrology and shit, and I go to the natal chart, and I'm like, this shit look familiar, my nigga. I was like, yo, I can't put my finger on it, but this shit look familiar as fuck, bruh. Fuck it. So I'm studying, right? Okay, signs. You know, what is the sign? Sign is how you are. How you are, right? The house is where. The planet is the what. You feel me? Okay, now you got the degrees. You got, okay, bam, you got 1 degree, 2 degrees. Like, is it on the cusp? Is it this? Okay, you have a decan. Okay, which does this move here? Now you have cardinal signs. You have mutable signs. And I'm like, okay. But this motherfucking chart look familiar, my nigga. Like, I seen this shit somewhere before, and I don't know where the fuck I seen it at, right? So I'm going over the degree placements, and I'm like, so I'm asking, so, yo, what's a trine? Oh, it's when the sign is, 30 degrees away from each other and it works together. 30 degrees? It's a circle, like. So wait a minute. So I'm like, hold on, wait. Trine, 30 degrees. So I said, so we literally having this conversation, and it's starting to blow her mind, because she like, how are you processing this shit this fast? Because it's like, once the information connects, it connect, and it don't disconnect. So I'm like, trine, 30 degrees. Try 330. So I said, if my words correct, if my words serve me correctly, that means that sextile is 60 degrees. She was like, yeah, how'd you know? I said, then that means a motherfucking square is 90, right? Because she said, yeah. So I was like, this is a fucking unit circle in calculus. She was like, what? I said, this is the unit circle in calculus. I said, oh shit, astrology is calculus. Calculus is the basics, is quote unquote, calculus will be the physics. Astrology is the metaphysics. So I was like, I thought you didn't like math. I don't. I was never good at it. Well, why the fuck are you studying astrology and actually acting like you really know and it's like, how do you know astrology and you don't know calculus? I was like, wait a minute. Pi over 3 will give you this. Whoa, pi over 6 will give you a queen. Whoa, this is the same shit. And I'm looking at it like, how the fuck did I not see that? Because when you see the natal chart, it looks all scattered around. You see the Taurus and all of the other shit in there, motherfucker. And it's so much distraction that you can't see. Nigga, this is a unit circle in calculus. Calculus is how they quantify the universe. Is how they quantify the stars. So now when you look at how the pyramids are built according to Orion's belt, you feel me, Khufu, Khafre, and Menkaure, it is astrology. But for it to be astrology, it has to be calculus. And it's like, nigga, that's why the pyramids are all off, like the actual squares of the corners of the pyramids, the 90-degree angles of the pyramids are all off by like half a degree. They like 89 point something degrees, which a 90-degree angle, a right angle is 90 degrees. To get something that monumental at an 89-degree angle, nigga, that's damn near perfect. And they did it 3 times with 3 different stars. It's like, oh, when you look at Nopta Playa that showed the constellations of the the cosmological zodiac sign, which is why we're in the Aquarian age, which spins backwards. It's like, you niggas had to use calculus to do this. Because you understood the circle, which means you understood the cycles, which means you understood the physics and the metaphysics. Nigga. Now, again, when I was in undergrad and I was going to take physics, they said in order to sign up for physics and enroll, you need a prerequisite of what? Calculus. Oh! So when I tell niggas, if you don't understand if you don't understand the physics, you don't understand the metaphysics. Yes, I do. No, you don't. No, you don't. Now you pretending and you believing because you don't really understand this shit. And this isn't me being okay, I'm better than niggas. No, I comprehend shit. I've always been able to comprehend higher levels of shit because now I understand what the comprehension is. When I went to med school and shit, that's when it really like solidified that it's different because everything is in Latin. And I'm like, why is it in Latin? Then when I started to study history and shit, again, making more connections, Latin, when you go to the Greco-Roman era, that was the changing of the guards, nigga. That's why you go Kemetic, Hebrew, Greek. Then you go from Greek to Roman to English, Latin, the Greek to Roman. Roman spoke Latin. That's why we call this shit South America. That's why we call South America Latin America. Niggas don't. We getting into that in season 13, my nigga. We get into that in season 13. You got to go back and listen to the Roman Empire. When I said it never failed. It never failed because their language. Now the Latins say, in Latin America, they say no lingua, no cultura. No language, no culture. Now you have to understand, because we're going to get a little bit deeper too. Now you got to understand, if South America was called Latin America, why was this side of America called Afro America? Again, I'm going to break that down, because we're going to talk about the lost city of Atlantis. We're going to talk about this whole ass Leviathan that they keep talking about coming up. We're going to talk about a lot of this shit. But I'm staying on the comprehension. If you don't have the comprehension, you're going to seem like I'm tripping. It's going to seem like I'm tripping, because now when I'm talking to people and they're like, you don't have to. You didn't read it. I did. You didn't study it. I did. You don't even know this information exists, and I just gave it to you. For example, when I was talking about the men, we ain't got deep voices. I was talking about, the Kellogg guy. They made cereal that did. He was like, whatever, man. I ain't never heard of that shit. Okay, cool. Now, when you go look it up, you're going to feel stupid. Now, I just exposed you something. I just broadened your lexicon. You feel me? The lexicon that you have, I'm way outside of that. And I'm not about to shortchange and come in. That's why I was talking to that person. I was like, I thought I explained it right the first time. You're laughing because you don't understand what I'm talking about. I'm disappointed that you going in as if you do. You feel me? But I'm at a whole different level with this shit. Not only do I read at an esoteric level, I write at an esoteric level. I always have. Hence why the entire transition that we're in now, from just seeing from the page to seeing the griot, I always knew I was this. I'm embracing it now, because I'm fully able to embrace it now that I have everything how I want it to be. But that's what seeing the griot is. Like, in order for me to be this, I have to go to places that people can't go. In order for me to be a storyteller, I have to be a story reader. I have to be fluent in this shit. I have to be able to know so much that I can give you a metaphor for any fucking thing. I can't count how many times people have heard the podcast and was like, yo, when you broke that shit down with that metaphor of this, that, and the third, it's like, I know. And I don't know cocky shit. Like, I know, because I knew that in order for me to give this information, I had to give it that way. Because I know what y'all can comprehend. I know what the average person can comprehend. So I got to talk like you 12. But now to hit the point home, I have to make it so that you don't feel like I'm insulting you by talking to you like you're 12. That's where profanity comes in. I have to infuse the cuss words in this shit when I'm talking profound, because it's like, I don't want to be too profound. I just can't be too profane. You feel me? That's why I'm able to talk about everything and anything. And I'm able to give a story out of everything. One of my homies, she was just telling me, she said, yeah, I was just using your metaphor, your allegory about an anchor on with one of her groups and shit. And I was like, which one? Because it's like, I don't remember. I just come up with the shit, because it's like, how I'm gonna give the story is how I got to give it. That's all I do. But in order for me to be able to give you the story, I have to be able to understand the stories. So this is what I'm talking about with literature. You have to be able to read and write, right? Read and write. That's what literacy is. Reading is thoroughly understanding. You feel me? Writing is being thoroughly understood. So when you take the paper off the shit and you're no longer with your pen or whatever the case may be, how well do you listen and how well do you speak? Some niggas just talk and some niggas just hear. I don't just talk and I don't just hear. I speak and I listen. That's why I speak so well. Everybody, they tell me, you cuss too much. You don't need to cuss. You're so articulate that I know this shit, but I do it for my niggas, bro. I do it for my niggas. Do you know why? Because when I have kids and I can't give the messages sometimes, I'm gonna tell them to listen to a podcast. Because I'm talking like they homies. I'm talking like the motherfuckers they listen to right now. You feel me? I broke a time barrier, bro. I broke a time barrier. Because it's like every cycle is going to keep repeating. Every cycle is going to keep repeating, because this is a system. Because the people that understand esoteric science, they know how to control this shit. That's why JP Morgan Chase said, the nigga said, millionaires use accountants, billionaires use astrology. The fuck? Now, what do you need to be an accountant? A bachelor's degree. What do you need to be an accountant? A bachelor's degree. So accountants, So millionaires use accountants, right? And what did we say the bachelor's degree comprehension level was? You feel me? What was the bachelor's degree comprehension? Do y'all remember? 14, 15, 16, 17. I was going to say it because you feel me. 14, 15, 16, and 17. Astrology is at levels 30, 31, 32, and 33. Do you see the gap in that shit? Because you know why? Because billionaires and shit, they use systems. Now they infuse everybody into the systems that they create using the stars, using astrology, using numerology, using tarot, using esoteric magic. All of the shit that they made you afraid of. You know why you're afraid of it? Because of the exoteric. The religion at the exoteric. All of that shit's demonic, nigga. We gonna tell you. Anything esoteric is the devil. It's demonic, nigga. No, you can't go there. You can't go there. You feel me? Well, what is demon? Etymologically, the word demon means genius. Whoa, you mean to tell me all the demons? So all the genius level shit is at the esoteric level. When I actually tapped into astrology, numerology, and I learned how to use it and stop, like, you can't believe in this shit. This is why I was saying it's what you have. Like when people say you are I'm not an Aries, bro. I have Aries energy in this particular space. You feel me? I have Capricorn energy in this space. You feel me? That's why I fuck with people. If you follow me on Instagram and shit, when I'm on my stories and shit, sometimes I post about being an Aries. Sometimes I post about Capricorn. Sometimes I post Sagittarius shit. Sometimes I post Leo shit. I post different signs. I post different planets. And people are like, I thought you was an Aries. I am. But you just said, I am. Wait, you can't be both because you can only be one on. I know. Do you know why I'm saying that? No. All right. Well, you got to shut up. Like, do you see how easy it is to manipulate a motherfucker? By simply knowing more than you and acting like you know more than me, I can control you. But I choose not to do that. I don't like that. That's fucked up. I don't like that. I can do it. I can have the information that you don't have and keep you away from it and make you feel like all the information that I'm giving you is all the information there is to know. But that's not true. That's false. And that's fucked up. I shouldn't do that to you. I shouldn't do that to you. But that's what we have. You know why? Because a lot of motherfuckers ain't even reading and comprehending at the esoteric level, but they're practicing esoteric science. They're practicing exoteric science. You know how many pastors back in the day, if you are in black church in any kind of way, you know that, and I'm going to say this and I'm going to start trying to, bring it home and wrap it up. You know that there will be a person reading for the pastor. Because the pastor couldn't read. Like, the pastor couldn't read. So it's like, nigga, if you can't read this shit, you're having somebody read the words for you and you're interpreting what they just read, what you heard. Nigga, you don't know what the fuck going on. But it's like, it's in me. It's in me. I can quote this verse because it's in me because it's going to be, you memorize it, but you don't understand what's being said. So I said that to say, when it comes to that esoteric, that bridge and shit, if the book, the Bible and the Quran, both of these books represent the sun and the moon, respectively. And you're not learning the esoteric science from them of astrology, numerology, like tarot is different. You can learn tarot, but you still need. In Soul Frail 3, when I talked about the Tree of Life, the Tree of Life is based on the fucking major arcana of tarot. The 22 paths, the Tree of Life, the 22 major arcana. If you don't know that and you think it's demonic and it's being used on you, what do you think is going to happen to you in the future? You feel what I'm saying? So when you're being told that this book is called the Holy Bible, the Book of the Sun, but you don't have any connection to understanding why it's the Book of the Sun, it'll fuck you up. Because now when you look at the name of God, Jehovah, and you know that the Hebrew people didn't use vowels, so it's Yod He Vav He, and that represents the four elements of air, fire, water, and earth. And then why God says, let us create man in our image and likeness. Oh, it's a natal chart. So our natal chart is how we're creating the image and likeness of God. The natal chart is also calculus, the unit circle in calculus. So wait a minute. If I understand my esoteric science, my exoteric science, I can control myself. I get my free will back. But we're going to tell you that the esoteric science is demonic. We're going to give you bullshit for the exoteric science. You're not even going to know anything about that shit. You're going to listen to illiterate motherfuckers about it. And then not only that, we're going to make you illiterate to it. So your comprehension isn't even built enough for you to understand what's being said. So you can read, you can articulate words, you can pronounce a word, but do you hear the word correctly when it's spoken to you? When this word is spoken to you, can you spell it? Can you create the image necessary to all of this? I say this all the time, and this goes into everything that we're saying. A picture is worth 1,000 words. This is why they're giving us images and shit, but we only have a lexicon of the limited words we can see the picture with. But one word can conjure 1,000 pictures. One word can conjure 1,000 pictures. You see how much power it is for the literacy side of it to be able to write? Because now when somebody gives you the word, you can only understand and process from the way in which they give it to you. And the way in which you're able to receive it. So if I tell you good morning, and you don't know the difference between morning and morning, you will stop saying good morning and opt to say grand rising because you don't know that there's a difference between the two different words. That's just good morning, my nigga. When I tell you to pray harder, and you don't know if I'm talking about with the A or the E, what do you think that's going to do for you? Because you can see these words when they're written, but can you see these words when they're heard? Because when you see these words when they're heard, now you can create the image. And once the images are created, that's when you're truly able to speak, connect with deities. But that's also when you're truly at the highest level of comprehension. And don't forget to check out Polycafe Clothing, formerly Just Scenes merch. Get all of your intricate designs crafted specifically for the melanated being to develop a positive imagery within self and to have a little bit of fun in the process. From the peace, love, knowledge, and freedom to the dead horses and water designs, all of the styles are crafted for the imagery to make you feel as you're supposed to feel. Because as I always say, the best way to fit in is to stand out. And what better way to stand out than with your exclusive styles from Polycafe Clothing. All right. I'm going to go ahead and end it there. I feel like that's a good, I'm feeling light now. That one needed to come out. Season 13, we got a lot of shit to talk about. But I feel like this episode is really what's going to set the tone for everything. Like, again, I'm not trying to be arrogant or nothing. I use modesty. I do, but it is what it is. Like, I've been reading and writing at an esoteric level for a long, long time. And I do it well. I'm very knowledgeable. I know a lot of shit. I read a lot and I understand a lot. That's why I'm able to talk about the shit that I'm talking about. Like, I can look and tell that a motherfucker ain't reading. Like, you can read the books that I read, but I know you're not reading at the level that I read to understand them. Because I can tell by the way you communicate about the information that you have. You feel me? I'm far beyond a lot of shit. So much so that it can appear like niggas be like, yo, you appear crazy or whatever the case may be sometimes. I don't. I never appear crazy. I appear sane in the motherfucker. I'm just above your comprehension. Because you still think like a 12-year-old. That's not on me. But the fact that I'm able to come down and bring it back to the 12-year-old, because it's like, now you made me, you still can't come up to where I was at. People act like I'm being funny when I say this shit. It's like, yo, I'm be talking about calculus and y'all be talking about arithmetic. I be talking about calculus and y'all be talking about arithmetic. Calculus understands arithmetic. Arithmetic just don't understand calculus. So calculus seems crazy. So I can give you the quadratic equation from algebra as I'm speaking from calculus, and you think I'm tripping because you're from arithmetic. This nigga talking about quadratic equations. Nigga, all you can do is put 2 and 4. Man, you could just put 2 and 4 together and get 6. No, nigga, this is a quadratic equation. We talking about geometry now, nigga. What the fuck is geometry, nigga? Nigga, stay in arithmetic. Like, don't come over here trying to act like the math that we doing is not math, because that's the only math you can do. The fuck? And I like to use that as math because it's so concrete, because a lot of niggas be thinking that, I be making shit up until I start giving sources and shit. Like, it's like, what? Like, oh wow, you really, yes, nigga, I'm not just talking out my ass, but I'm speaking to you in a way that you can understand. It's not my fault that there's more behind this. You feel what I'm saying? It's like your limit is my warm up. Like the fuck, like, you know what I'm saying? Let's not go there. And I do this because I can. You feel me? I love giving information out. I love studying. I love learning. It's just what I do. But I'm at a very high level of comprehension with the shit. You feel me? I'm at that 33rd degree of consciousness and comprehension. And I didn't have to do what they said you had to do to get it. But then again, I don't know, because I had it since I was 17 months old when I came back from the other side. So I don't know what the fuck they do, but I just know I got it. And I know that's how I got it. And I know that it's been in me since forever. Like, you give me any bit of information, I'll break it down. Like, it's just what it is. Markets, masculinity, you feel me? Health and nutrition. Like nobody's able, like, I still get people like, yo, how did you give all of that science and medical school shit and put that in the Hitting Raw? Because I know what the fuck, I comprehend it. Like, I get it. You feel me? I feel like this. If you can't explain it, if your explanation doesn't appear like you know what you're talking about, you don't know what you're talking about. Here's what I mean by that. If I'm explaining the shit to you and it sounds too easy, it sounds way too easy, I know what I'm talking about. But if I'm confusing you and I'm saying it in a way that sounds so complex that you have to trust that I know what I'm talking about, I don't know what I'm talking about. See how the fuck up is? Because the 4 stages of the mind are what? Belief, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. They got you stuck at a level of belief. Now we can add the 4 stages of the mind with the reading comprehension. You feel me? You believe and read at a 6th grade level, bro. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about society as a whole. I don't know what y'all niggas read at. I know what I read at. And I took it for granted because I would be giving people books and shit, and they'd be like, I'm like, oh, you finished this book yet? Nah, that joint is too much. The fuck you mean it's too much, nigga? We were just having a conversation about the shit. Like, what you mean? Like, nigga, we were just talking about this. I know, but like the book is, wait a minute. So you was not comprehending what I was saying? Like, you don't get what I was like, nah, I get what you're saying. But like, if like, this is where you got it from? Yes, nigga. Like that's how I broke that down. Damn, I didn't get that out of that. Oh, okay. I got you. You're just not there. And my modesty, again, this is why I'm about to start being cocky this go around, because like my modesty is what be fucking me up, because I be thinking niggas is on my level. So I treat them like they are. And then they get mad at me because it's like, damn, I couldn't, like, why? Nigga, why? You feel me? I had this shorty one time. I was reading, I want to say it was Egyptian Yoga by Muwatta Ashby or something, or The Comedic Tree of Life. It was one of them. And I'm reading it. I knocked the bitch out. And she's like, this is like, it's taking me forever to get through it. Like, it's too heavy for me. Why are you trying to read it then? Because you read it. I read it because I wanted to. And I read it because I can. And I read it because I get it. But then I started realizing, you don't comprehend what I comprehend. And you can't comprehend what I comprehend. So much so that she was the same person that introduced me to the astrology until I started studying it. And then when I started asking her questions, like, I like, yo, you heard about Ophiuchus, that 13th sign? And she was like, that ain't real. Hey, I don't know. You might want to look into it. I mean, I'm just saying. You feel me? And then I started asking her about decans and, shit like that. And she was like, wait a minute. So you was doing all this shit without actually knowing what the fuck you was doing. And that's how where'd you get your information from? You feel me? Motherfucker, like, and like shit like that pisses me off. And it pisses me off now only because it's like, I always gave people the benefit of the doubt. I always assumed that you was on my same level. I always assumed that you were doing what I was doing. I always assumed that you, like, if you came into my space, I assumed that you was like me. Not realizing that you were just trying to be like me. Like, you feel what I'm saying? Like, you can't keep up with this intelligence. Cause it's like, I mean that with the absolute modesty. You can't keep up with my mind. So don't try. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, motherfuckers be thinking, yo, give me all of the books you read and shit. Like, it's like, okay, here. I give them the books I read. It's like, yo, how did you make that connection? It's my mind, nigga. It do it. It do it. Like, it do it. I study so much that I can do this shit. Like, you don't study, like, y'all study in majors. Y'all study in veins. I don't have a limitation on what I can study. Because I don't have a limit to my reading level. To what I'm able to comprehend. I talk to women all the time and they be like, you're such a good listener. You can like, nigga, that's how I got the women. Look, when I was on my mean run, when I was back smashing, thrashing, and haberdashing, that's why it was so easy, because I comprehend. I know that women feel before they think, so I know how to respond differently. Was it manipulative? Probably. Who knows? They threw the pussy after me because it was what it was. Because I'm a good communicator. You're only a good communicator when you're able to comprehend. Motherfuckers can't read, bro. Motherfuckers can't read. And I've been fluidly reading. I've been able to read for so long. So much so, I'm going to say this, I'm going to really wrap it up. My mama and my brother just found me reading one day. Like, my brother told my mama, he was like, Mom, Ray can read. She was like, no, he can't. He just be picking up. He just memorized. She thought because I was just memorizing the Dr. Seuss books. He said, nah, Ma, Ray can read anything. And she was like, I don't know. Let me see. And she just gave me something random. And I just kept reading it. So much so I was able to read cursive too. I remember one time I had to be like 3 or 4. And my mama was reading a note from my grandma. And I'm just standing over reading the note. Like, I'm nosy as fuck. Like, I'm reading the note. And my mama looked up like, oh, and just kept reading. Like, I couldn't read the shit. She was like, oh, you can't read it anyway. Then I started reading it out loud. And she was like, oh. She's like, get out. She said, get away from me. And I was like, oh, just being nosy. Like, we bust out laughing, but it shocked her because she was like, not only did he just learn how to read on his own, he can read cursive too. When did you learn how to do that? And I wasn't even in school yet. I wasn't in school yet. I was like, I've been trying to tell niggas this shit. It's like, yo, cuz, nigga, I went to the other side and came back. I can't tell y'all that because I don't know how to articulate it without freaking y'all out. I don't give a fuck about freaking y'all out now, but at the time, it's like, I don't know how to articulate it. Like, when niggas be like, yo, you know, God is this, that, and that. That's not what you think. That's not what it is. Nigga, I've been there, nigga. Like, you know how niggas be like, you know how we bitch and we complain? Because I say this shit myself. It's like, how you gonna tell them? And this is one of the reasons why I don't say shit. Because it's like, yo, how you gonna tell a motherfucker what hell is like if you never died and been to hell? And that's why it's like, that's why I can't tell y'all what this shit is like, because it ain't heaven or hell, my nigga. It's not. It's not heaven or hell. It's not what you think it is. It's not what you think it is. But I can't explain what you think it is because you're going to think I'm tripping. You're going to think I'm just saying it. And it's like, well, you just saying that because you biased because you don't really fuck with religion. No, nigga, I understand religion so much. That's why niggas think I still believe in it. You feel what I'm saying? Because I know so much, but it's like, I went to the other side, bro. It's not what you think. It's not what you think. Ain't no fire. Ain't no brimstones. Ain't no honey. Ain't no golden roads, nigga. It's like, I'm telling you, it's not that. It's not that. But if I tell you, I can't tell you what it is. I just can't tell you what it is, because if I tell you what it is, you're not going to believe me, because it's not what you want it to be. And because it's not what you want it to be, you can't comprehend it. See how this all go full circle? Because you can only comprehend to the capacity of your lexicon and what you're able to understand. If everything that I'm telling you is not in your lexicon, you can't deal with it. You'll dismiss it, you'll shut down, and you'll completely argue for nothing. You'll argue something that you've never seen. Like, you feel me? Like, I literally have argued with religious people, especially Christians, who say, you know, I'm going to be in the number. I was like, ain't no number. Ain't nobody over there. Hey, it ain't what you think, dog. Like, I'm telling you, like, you feel me? Thinking like, yo, I'm going to be. That's why I always got comebacks for shit. Like, when motherfuckers be like, yo, I'm going to be in the number. It's only 144,000 people according to the number and shit. That's 12,000 people per tribe of Judah. I mean, per tribe of Israel. Right. And when you put that into perspective and you have the actual understanding that in the Bible, they say one man is going to get 10 women once he gets to heaven and shit. You know, we ain't going to talk about the Quran. For every nigga, you get 72 virgins. But one man is going to get 10 virgins according to the Bible. So that's like one man is going to have like 12,000 women. I mean, 11,000 women to himself. Like for just from the mass perspective of it being 144,000, I said it ain't. Why are you being so logical, nigga? Why aren't you? The fuck? It's a book. Read it. Comprehend it. The fuck? I don't get what I don't get why y'all can't get it. But then I get why y'all can't get it. Because if I was reading this shit as a 12-year-old, I'd believe it. If I was reading this shit as a 12-year-old, I wouldn't think to go do the research and the understandings of it. Like, if I was reading it as a 12-year-old, I would hear the Pharaoh's name and worry about Moses, and I realize, why don't they put the name to the Pharaoh? Because then I would know which Pharaoh it was. And if I know which Pharaoh it was, I know that this shit don't fit in history. I would understand that. I get it. But I get that you don't get it. I get that motherfuckers don't get it. So I shut the fuck up. I talk my shit and leave it alone. Like, I'm no longer at a space where I give a fuck about whether or not a motherfucker is going to get it or not. Because I know you can't. You wouldn't have gotten it anyway. Because I know you can't read. And not that I know that you can't read in the like, I know that the system was designed to make sure you can't. You couldn't comprehend this shit if you tried. So while I know that you only comprehended a level, percentage-wise, I write at the highest level of comprehension. We not the same. We not the same. That's why niggas be shocked. Like, yo, how you put these little one-liners together? Because I don't need a lot to say a lot. Because I have a lot. You feel what I'm saying? You ever paid attention to how when niggas is like, they're explaining the story and shit, and they got they got to put all of the emphasis onto it, shit. Like, they teach, like, I can do shit with little words. Like, that's why I know so much, because, like, I'm gonna do a lot with a little. I'm gonna do a lot with a little, and you'll see my shit pop. And then motherfuckers be mad because, like, they posting they using all the characters in the tweet and in the thread, and I'm not. And it's like, yo, why is your shit doing this? Cause, nigga, I'm dope. I'm fire, nigga. I read at a higher level. I read at a very high level, and I write at a higher level, and I consistently write. That's why when I be writing my jam sessions and shit, nigga, it is what it is. I can play with that shit. I can say shit like, gods are back to niggas, goddesses are back to bitches now. Went from nation building down to splitting bills within the house. How the mighty are falling is kind of appalling, but rather appealing, depending on what side of the feeling you're on. I could, like, now I'm at the point where I can just put the shit together and have fun and make it rhyme. You know why? Because I can comprehend at that high of a level. My literacy is that high of a level, so I can write at that level. Poetry is not easy. Rhyming and shit, and then being able to synchronize it and have substance with all of the shit that you're saying and be able to, that's not easy. That's not easy. And niggas know it's not easy, but it's easy for those who comprehend well. You feel me? It's easy for those who comprehend well. Niggas can't read. That's why they say rap is going the way that it is. You feel me? I've always been about literacy. That's why it's like niggas like dumb it down. No, nigga, y'all niggas need to read more. I'm not dumbing shit down. Go read more, nigga. All of the shit that I say is come from books. It comes from shit that I've experienced, that I've learned and I've read and shit. Like, nah, I'm not. No, we ain't dumbing no shit down, bro. Listen to my podcast if you don't want to hear the depth of the rhymes and shit. You want to hear some, you still gonna hear some depth, but it is what it is. Like, this shit is fun now. It's fun again. And I realize it now. I can just talk shit. You niggas can't read. And so I'm not about to cater it to illiterate motherfuckers no more. I'm just not. I read, I write, I listen, I speak at an esoteric level. I just so happen to know how to speak to the people according to their level. That's why it's profane and profound, because I know if I just stay profound, if I stayed esoteric, y'all wouldn't get the shit. You know why? Because it'll sound just like the Bible. It'll sound just like the Quran. And it'll be complex layers. And for example, when I just broke down how the Bible says, and when he asked, Moses asked God what his name was, he said, I am that I am. Jehovah. Do you know what that means? Yod He Vav has the fireman. Like, do you see what it is to be esoteric? Now do you understand? Now, I'm going to say this and I'm really going to wrap it up and get to the end of the shit. Now do you understand the significance of Palakafe? I'm doing that dramatic pause for a reason. Because I know I just did all of that shit. And it's like, yo, this nigga, no nigga, I can pop my shit and I can show you that I write and I read at an esoteric level so much so I created one word. And when you understand the entire world of Palakafe is just the word. You dig what I'm saying? Peace, love, knowledge, and freedom. I've already defined how I define peace, love, knowledge, and freedom. From peace, love, knowledge, and freedom, you get So For Real. You get Hitting It Raw. You get Master the Market. You get the merch. You get everything that I've created. It's a world. It's layers, but it's just one word. That's what it is to be esoteric. Metaphysical. Bring it down to the physical. You feel me? I no longer have to go into now when you start to understand business, when you start to understand corporations, nigga, they all think like that. Tying it back to JP Morgan. Chase, he said, millionaires use accountants, billionaires use astrology. He didn't say they use astrologists. He said they use astrology. They do it themselves. They align with the cycles of the universe. Rockefeller said, I don't want a nation of thinkers. I need a nation of workers. They put them shits together and made them. They operate from the esoteric while everybody else is operating at like 12-year-olds. So you can be a nation of workers. Smart. That's why the banking system, everything operates. When you look at the markets, you look at the charts and shit like that. It operates on a 30-day, really a 28-day cycle from moon to moon. They fucked with you because now when they changed the Gregorian calendar, that was the smartest thing ever because you think it's 12 months in a year. And it is, but it's 12 months in a year because it's 13 moons in a year. Take 365 and divide it by 13. That's why the 12 months have fluctuated. We have 30 days, had September, April, June, and November. All the rest have 31 except February, which is all alone. Esoteric shit, nigga. You just think, oh, this is a way for me to remember that each month. No. It's because we don't want you to know that there's 13 moons. Because if you know that there's 13 moons, you align with the moons and you realize that we're aligned with the moons and move accordingly. Because if we're aligned to the moons, we're aligned to the womb. It's different. It's different. But again, a lot of this shit I'm going to say for the rest of the season. I just want to give y'all some little advertising. What we going to go over, dog? But not for real. I'm going to go into there. Go kiss your babies. Make sure they eat their vegetables. And literacy. Literacy is reading, writing, speaking, and listening. Reading, writing, speaking, and listening. I can't tell you how to make your child more literate other than read and write. When I was young, I had book reports to do. Whenever I would ask my mom how to spell something, she gave me a dictionary, made me look it up. It was kind of like a weird thing because it was like, it was never hard. Like, it wasn't like, oh, I got to go look this up. It's like, all right. Then eventually it just got to that point, but it was almost like I incarnated in this plane because I knew that type of person would make me do that as a parent. And I just got lost in myself. Your kids, when they read, they need to understand the words. They also need to write. It's not enough to read it because it's like when you write it, you let me see what it is that you know. You feel what I'm saying? You're allowing me to see what you have absorbed. You feel me? And then now when you speak and when you can speak better for one, and now you can listen better. So when I say you mediocre, if I don't teach you what mediocre means, you're not going to know what it is. It's going to draw a blank and you're just not listening. So now when fast forward to motherfuckers is older and they telling you get a myocardial infarction. Huh? It's a heart attack, my nigga. Oh, well, why you ain't just say heart? Because it's a myocardial infarction. I don't like when you don't know what it is, you can't fix it. So if I create the language that you can't comprehend to, you won't do shit about it. If our babies, if we teach them how to communicate early, not just read. We brag about them. Oh, they know the ABCs because they can sing the ABC song. They can spot words. What do these words mean? What are their origins? Where do they come from? Children are sponges, bro. Start that habit early and it'll never depart. What the Bible say, train a child up in the way that they should go and they'll never depart from it. If you train a child up in the capacity to fully comprehend and have literacy, which is reading, writing, listening, and speaking, train them in that correctly. You feel me? They be good. They know how to break down words. They know, give them their little own child dictionary when they start going over shit. No child, when we break this barrier of hierarchy, we can really move in harmony. We so busy trying to keep up with the Joneses and the missteps in between where we doing stupid shit. Like, you feel me? When I was in kindergarten, they wanted to skip me to the second grade. My mama said no. She was like, nah, I want him to go through all his developmental milestones. I'm above the developmental milestones. These niggas is stupid. So what does that do when you're not skipped ahead? You feel me? I eventually would have been, you feel me? I would have finished early, but then it's like now it's still easy, so I don't try. You're not going to skip me because y'all want me to go through my developmental milestones, so don't get mad when I underperform. Because I don't have to, and I'm still great. You feel me? None of our babies, no child, no human is on the same level at any given time. But you can adjust what level you're on simply by developing your reading comprehension. Because the moment you're able to speak correctly and the moment you're able to hear correctly, everything else changes, but you have to be able to read and write first. You feel me? So you can always know what's being said, always know, you know what I'm saying? But we teach our children, stay out of my mouth, instead of not having conversations they're not supposed to hear around them. Weirdos. But I'm going to go ahead and end it there. Go kiss your babies. Make sure make sure they eat their vegetables, and I'm going to see y'all all on the next one. Welcome back to season 13, baby. I'm out.